Hi there, I'm Danny Flex and welcome to the latest edition of SecondsOut FLEXpectations. We're here every Thursday at 4:30 PM to talk about the boxing action to come over the weekend. We've got an absolute barnstormer, a can't miss unification showdown taking place on Saturday night in Dallas, Texas. And it's a rematch, but 8 years in the making, or over 8 years actually now, between Juan Francisco Estrada, the WBC super flyweight champion, and his one-time conqueror, Roman Gonzalez of Nicaragua, the WBA super flyweight champion, Chocolatito, as he is known to most boxing fans. Their first fight, way back in 2012, was contested at light flyweight, which there isn't a lot of weight between that and superfly, even though there's a whole division in between. But it just shows how long ago it was that they were competing 2 divisions below, because they've now both become synonymous with that super flyweight weight class. It was a good fight on the night, clear win for Chocolatito, but entertaining all the way through and competitive in most of the rounds. Obviously, Gonzalez had a bit more experience back then, and that helped get the win, especially down the stretch. But a lot's changed since then. They've gone kind of differing paths, but always been in each other's, perspective, I guess, as time's gone on. Estrada moved up to flyweight not long after losing to Gonzalez. He enjoyed a long reign there with 2 belts. Probably the best form of his career at flyweight, beating the likes of Brian Viloria, Milan Melindo, Hernan Marquez, who he stopped in a really good fight. So that's the Hernan Tyson Marquez, I should say. But yeah, really good form at flyweight. Meanwhile, Chocolatito moved up, won world title in the 3rd weight class at flyweight, and then up to superfly, where he suffered very shocking at the time, 2017, back-to-back defeats to the tough Thai Srisaket Saw Rungvisai. Easy for you to say. First fight, very, very tight on the scorecards. The Thai just eked it out. The second fight, shockingly, Gonzalez was wiped out in round 4, who had already been knocked down in a round and was just brutalised. And it led to a lot of people saying that maybe he should retire as a 3-weight world champion, already getting on a bit in terms of age for someone in the lighter weight classes. And a lot more people were saying rather than retire, perhaps he should drop back down to flyweight. At super flyweight, he didn't quite have the power or the physical strength to compete with someone who was as tough and big as Rungvisai. Gonzalez decided not to take heed of that well-meaning advice and instead stayed at super flyweight, quickly worked his way back into contention. And in his it wasn't his most recent outing, because he's had a defense 2 fights ago, pretty much dominated a very talented fighter in the reigning WBA champion Cal Yafai from Great Britain, former Olympian, of course. And Gonzalez just seemed to turn back the clock with that performance. His counter-punching was crisp and accurate, and he certainly seemed to have the power to trouble a big super flyweight in Yafai. Since retained with a points win back home in Mexico, and this one is in Dallas. He's very, very popular in Texas, as I imagine will be the Mexican Estrada. Estrada fought Rungvisai, who was coming off those 2 wins, career best wins over Gonzalez, and fell to a pretty clear, although the scorecards, 2 of them were very close, pretty clear decision defeat to the Thai. But then they had a rematch, I think, around 3 fights later, and he fought a lot better. He started a lot faster, crucially, and Rungvisai baffled a lot of observers by fighting. He's a southpaw, but fighting for most of the fight out of the orthodox stance, from which he really struggled against Estrada, and only really had success when he switched back to his more natural left-handed stance. So that was an interesting one, but Estrada clearly won the rematch, in my view. Both very entertaining fights. The first one, I think, was the headliner on the Superfly 2 card, which was really good overall. But yeah, so Estrada won that. He's been the champion since. Really established himself. He's the younger man by 3 years. He's only, I say only, but he's 30, which is still getting on a bit. But Gonzalez, apologies, is 33 now, which is ancient for someone in the lighter weight classes. He's also been in arguably the tougher fights, or at least more of them, than Estrada. And while he seems to have maintained his form since their first fight, Estrada has improved undoubtedly, and maybe has adapted better to the rise up in weight. Seems a bit fresher. But you can't count Gonzalez out, and a lot of people did before the Yafai fight. I thought it'd be a lot closer than it was. But Estrada came out, Gonzalez came out and dominated against a previously unbeaten opponent and polished him off in round 9 after having dropped him in round 8 as well. Just a very consummate, comprehensive victory, just to show everyone he's still a major player at super flyweight. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this rematch. Especially among hardcore boxing fans, I'm not the only one. I guess the bonus for us is that it's going to be broadcast by DAZN, including in the UK, and I believe DAZN, certainly is for me, is still £1.99 per month. I don't expect that to last forever. It will change at some point and go up, but for now, enjoy what will undoubtedly be, because of the styles, one of the very best fights of 2021 for just £1.99, and then obviously all the rest of the action you get on that card and for the rest of the month on DAZN. I'm starting to sound like a DAZN shill, so I'll move on and just say, yeah, style-wise, a great fight. Chocolatito, brilliant high work rate, counter puncher, great footwork, hand speed, shot selection. Estrada, more comfortable as a counter puncher, but can be an aggressor. Maybe slightly the harder puncher at super flyweight, although that will be either proved or disproved on Saturday night. As I say, fresher, grown with the title, maybe a bit more comfortable fighting at range, whereas Gonzalez is very, very happy exchanging in the pocket, using that hand speed and that excellent precision. So it can't miss as a spectacle. It won't be anything other than a very entertaining fight. If I had to make a pick, I'd probably go for Estrada. I don't see either man ending it inside the distance. I think it will go the full 12 rounds. And I think the Estrada, the Mexican, will leave with the 2 belts in his possession and keep on his mission to unify. And then Gonzalez, depending on the manner of the defeat, if he is defeated, will have to think long and hard about his future. But it wouldn't surprise me if Gonzalez, his recent form has indicated he's still, maybe not quite as good as his prime, but almost. And that may still be enough to beat Estrada. We shall see. What I want to know from you guys is what you think is going to happen. Tell me your predictions. Who's going to win and why? I'll be back on Monday for the next reflections, where I'll be looking back on this fight and the rest of the card, which includes the undisputed welterweight female rematch between Cecilia Brækhus and Jessica McCaskill, which a lot of people are looking forward to. It's a great value card, I've got to say, in summation. But yeah, so I'll be back on Monday to review that at 4:30, and then the following Thursday, FLEXpectations returns at the same time to talk about the boxing action coming up next weekend. As always, I really appreciate your time. Make sure you comment below, and most of all, enjoy the fight, because I can't see it being anything but epic and very, very exciting. Thank you.